Hello guys, welcome to the channel and welcome to a movie review. Tonight we're looking at a vampire film. Not one of my favourite genres in horrors, not one of my go-to sort of genres, but I thought we'd have a look at one tonight. And tonight we're looking at Count Yorga, Vampire. Now this is an American film. Let me get my trusty book and I'll tell you a little bit of information about the film before we move on to a little synopsis. Right, Count Yorga Vampires, film made in 1970. So it's an American film, runs for 93 minutes, certification of 15, directed by Bob Keljan, starring Robert Quarry, Roger Perry and Michael Murray. Screenplay was also by Bob Keljan, and the music was by Bill Max. Now, we had pretty much 2 decades of camp gothic vampires from Hammer films, and 1970 along from America comes this Count Yorga, and now this has sort of trying to sort of lift us out of that sort of gothic sort of period of vampire and bringing you up to 1970 Los Angeles, and that's pretty much what it does. And apart from that, it's no different to any other vampire film. It's exactly the same as all the other sort of vampire films, except our Count at the beginning of the film. We're at this harbour, and we see this boat arrive and lifting this coffin, and this coffin is dragged through the streets of LA in the back of some old cranky old Jeep and taken to this house. And then we join a séance at this house, and it's run by the Count, and he's got like a couple of women there with 3 or 4 guys there, and they're all not taking this sort of séance seriously. He's trying to contact, I think, the sister or the mother of one of the girls, and she gets really delved into this séance, where the fact that she sort of leaps out screaming. There was a bit when they all put their hands on the table, around the table, and it reminded me of Only Fools and Horses. When they had the séance in the pub, but this isn't Elsie Partridge. This is Count Yorga. Anyway, so they carry on with the séance, and he helps her recover by hypnotising her, and he speaks to her mind, saying, "You need to follow all my commands," etc., etc. Anyway, then he's going to leave their house after doing a séance, and one of the other girl and a guy offered to give him a lift back in their Volkswagen van back to his abode, and they take him there, and he invites them in for a drink, and she wants to go, but the boyfriend doesn't, and then their van gets stuck in the mud. And so what do? What happens? You make out. So they start making out, and we get like a prolonged sort of love scene in the van with some music, and then the lad goes out for a pee, and he thinks he sees something outside, and he doesn't really see. We don't see anything at this point, and then there's a bizarre thing that we see this guy, sort of like legs of this guy that's been following him to the van. And then there's all this noise going on in the background, of really loud noise of frogs chirping at night, and that wakes the girl up. She looks out the window, and right at the window is the vampire's face, and so they all go running out after him. The lad gets knocked out, and the girl gets bit by the vampire, so she is now under the power of our Count. And we see her in bed at home. She's got the 2 marks there, and he visits her at night. She opens her windows, her bay doors, and he comes in. And this is where it sort of differs from the Hammer, because this film dares to go a bit further. and show a bit of sort of like bit of eroticism, if you like, where he bites her neck and there's blood dripping down from her neck. He's got blood dripping down his face, and it seems to appeal to her, and she grabs him and they start kissing and canoodling, and she gets blood all up her face, and he's kissing her neck and all this sort of thing happening. And while this is going on, the guy that's looking after her, because she's been ill, obviously because of this bite, he goes up to check on her. And when he gets to the room, she's gone, and the vampire's gone, but the window's open, so she's gone and miss him. And then the other guys that were at the seance and the other girl, the one that the seance was for, go to the count's house to try and question if he's seen this girl that's gone missing. And he invites them in, and they start having a conversation about the girl, and that's all I'm going to tell you. So, this turns out to be a very cool vampire film. It goes places where Hammer didn't dare to, and it has lifted that camp sort of gothic feel to it, although there is a slight still gothic feel to the film. You'll get some scenes when he's walking down the spiral staircase with this black metal sort of railings, and it's very gothic-y, with an organ sort of playing music over the top while he's walking down. And he dresses still quite gothically with a black sort of shirt with a sort of like, you know, real feathered front with a medallion. It sounds like Del Boy. And he dresses in this flamboyant clothes and wears a cape. So he's very, very Dracula-like in his way. So it's still got that little hint of it there, but it's lifted us out of the Gothic period and brought us in to sort of modern day then Los Angeles. And I think it's a great film. Absolutely, really, really cool. Absolutely loved it. Now the pluses of this edition from Arrow. This is from the Count of Yorga box set collection. It's got this one and the follow up. It's got an amazing booklet. It's both of them come with art cards and a poster, and like I said, it comes with a booklet, and if I can put my hand on it, there's the second film, and it comes with this amazing sort of booklet, which is really, 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 really cool, and it's in a hardback box. So it's a really good release from Arrow once again. The transfer is a mixed bag. Sometimes it looks absolutely stunning and wonderful. Other times, I think it's just the source of the film. The camera's really shaky, and it's like it makes you feel a bit sicky at times, and it gets quite grainy in that part. So I think these are parts that they've added in, because most of it looks really fantastic, but then you'll get a bit where it's a shaky camera and sort of like grainy. The acting is bloody awful, but that's fantastic too. It's really, really cool. Not by the Count. He plays the part brilliantly. He's very convincing, and the girls are quite convincing. It's the lads that surround them. They're like really terrible and very sort of yeah. But it adds to the charm of the film. There is a tiny, tiny little bit of gore in the film, with some sort of like blood, like I've told you before, and a bit of sort of sexuality sort of going on within the film, which again, it brings the charm and the wonderful vampire sort of story to life, because it'd be pretty boring if you didn't see nothing. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of the Bela Lugosi's Dracula. It's just nothing really happens in it. I prefer the earlier Nosferatu. I thought that was more fantastic. But this is a really good vampire film, and it's up there for me with one of the better vampire films. So I'm going to score this a great watch and give it an 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed this one. I enjoyed it so much, I'm actually looking forward to watching the sequel in a few weeks' time. And when I buy these sort of sets and box sets, I'm not one of those people that will sit and watch it all in one go. I like to sort of like think, no, I've seen the first film, I'll watch the sequel in a few weeks' time, just so it gives me that break, as well. You can have too much of a good thing, and you won't enjoy it as much. But if you've had a break from it and you'll come back to it, you go, oh wow, yeah, it's really cool, and I love the first one, and that might make you go back to watch the first one again. That's how I tend to view things when I buy box sets. Just like the Conjuring universe, which I'm reviewing at the moment. I've done the 3 Conjuring films, and then we're going to go into the Annabelle films soon. But I'll give myself a little break from it, and we'll come into it rather than watch them solid for a week. I thought I'd rather break it up, because otherwise I'm going to be saying, oh, this is just like that, it's just like that. I don't want to do that. I want to choose every film on its own merit, and the only way I can do that is by giving a break between watching them. Count Yorga Vampire, 8 out of 10. Any of you guys seen it? If you have, let me know down below what you think of it. It's a cracking little vampire film, and it's good to see, after 2 decades of the vampire films coming from Britain, the pendulum finally swinging back to America, and they've come up with a couple of really cracking little films. Really cool to see that. Guys, till my next video, please check out some more horror channels. Check out Horror Hands, Horror Geek, Man v Film, RS Designs, Pizzlewell, I'm the Ice Lord, Cat Watches Horror Movies, and Grumpy Andrew's Haunted House. Massive shout out to my lad. Till next time, look after yourselves, look after one another, and I really hope that I will see you all soon.